Hello friends, in today's lecture we will discuss the convolution theorem of inverse Laplace transform. So let us see the convolution theorem of inverse Laplace transform. Here is the statement of the theorem. If L inverse of Fs equal to Ft and L inverse of Gs equal to Gt, then L inverse of Fs into Gs equal to integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du equal to f asterisk g. It can also be represented as like this, f asterisk g. Again I repeat the statement. If L inverse of Fs equal to Ft and L inverse of Gs equal to Gt, then multiplication of these two functions means Fs and Gs becomes the integration of the form 0 integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du, that is f asterisk g. मीन्स दो इनवर्स फंक्शन है लाइक L इनवर्स ऑफ Fs इक्वल टू Ft एंड द सेकंड इनवर्स फंक्शन इज L इनवर्स ऑफ Gs इक्वल टू Gt. इन दोनों फंक्शन को जब हम लोग मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं मीन्स Fs इंटू Gs को एंड देन वी ऑपरेट द L इनवर्स मीन्स प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दीज टू फंक्शन ऑपरेटेड बाय L इनवर्स, देन द इंटीग्रेशन बिकम्स 0 टू इंटीग्रेशन ओवर 0 टू t fu g of t minus u du. So this is the statement of the convolution theorem of inverse Laplace transform. आइए हम लोग इसके प्रूफ को देखते हैं. प्रूफ इस प्रकार है. If let us suppose that ht equal to, first of all we take the ht equal to L of ht equal to integration of 0 to infinity e to the power minus ht dt. अब use since ht is integration of 0 to t fu gu du, this is hu actually means that actually this is equation number 1. First of all we put like this is equation number 1, and then using the by the definition of the Laplace transform, we get the result of the form like this: L of ht equal to integration over 0 to infinity e to the power minus ht dt. Again I repeat the initial proof of the theorem. First of all we suppose that ht equal to integration over means this one. We suppose that this function means right hand side, whatever the right hand side, integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du, इसको हम लोग क्या किए हैं, ht सपोज कर लिए. अब जब लैपलास ट्रांसफॉर्म का डेफिनेशन को यूज करेंगे, L को ऑपरेट करेंगे, तो L ऑफ ht इक्वल टू इंटीग्रेशन ओवर 0 टू इन्फिनिटी e टू द पावर माइनस ht dt. इसमें हम लोग क्या किए, लैपलास यूज कर दिए. लैपलास यूज करने के बाद देखिए इंटीग्रेशन एज इट इज 0 टू इन्फिनिटी एज इट इज मीन्स सेम है, इट इज e टू द पावर माइनस st एज इट इज. नाउ ht, तो ht का वैल्यू ऑलरेडी हम लोगों के पास पहले से ही है, इंटीग्रेशन ओवर 0 टू t fu g of t minus u du. So substitute here the value of ht. So this is equation number 2. Now this is the plotted area. Now in equation 2, the integration of the double integration, because the first integration is integration over 0 to infinity and the second is 0 to t. So in equation 2, the reason of integration is double integration is an infinite area below the line OA, below the line OA, this is OA line, with the equation u equal to t, this is u equal to t line, and above the line OT u का वैल्यू कितना है आपका 0, यहाँ पर ऑन द एक्स एक्सिस मीन्स अलोंग दिस OT u का वैल्यू कितना हो गया, यहाँ पे 0 हो गया आपका. जब हम लोग ऑर्डर ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन को चेंज करेंगे तो OT becomes OU and OU becomes the OT form and the limit becomes the u to infinity becomes 0 to infinity. So this is the logic of the double integration, order of integrations. Now using the logic of order of integration, integration, equation 2 reduces, means this one, this equation 2 reduces the form because we use the order of integration. So it becomes, देखिए, u to infinity fu t equal to u to infinity e to the power minus st g of t minus u dt and du. Fu separated and here du last. Now इंटीग्रेशन एज इट इज u to infinity e to the power माइनस su से हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया और e to the power प्लस su से यहाँ मल्टीप्लाई कर दिए। सिंप्लीफाई करने पे देखिए एज इट इज फिर द प्रीवियस स्टेप्स वी विल गेट। Why we have done this type of result? Because when we separated this integral, it becomes the fs and gs form. So e to the power minus su fu and this one as it is e to the power minus s of t minus u g of t minus u dt and du. Now e to the power minus su fu as it is, du as it is. Here t minus u can be substituted in the form of v. तो v के फॉर्म में सपोज कर लिए, so dt becomes the du dv. So this integral becomes like this form, and the first integral, so this integral v equal to 0 to infinity e to the power minus su f gu dv को हम लोग gs लिख सकते हैं. Now gs should be outside, so rest of the integration becomes integration over 0 to infinity e to the power minus su fu du. So this is known as fs. So we will get L of ht equal to fs into gs. So L inverse of fs into gs equal to ht. And what is the ht? ht is integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du. And this can be represented as f asterisk g by equation 1. This is the proof of the theorem. Now we know the convolution theorem. What is convolution theorem? L inverse of fs into gs equal to integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du. Again I repeat the statement of the convolution theorem. If L inverse of fs equal to ft, L inverse of gs equal to gt, then L inverse of fs into gs equal to integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du. So this is the statement of the convolution theorem. Now using this statement, let us take any example. So we take a very simple example. Use the convolution theorem to evaluate L inverse 1 by s plus a s minus b. जैसा कि हम लोग पहले भी बता चुके हैं आपको, इस प्रॉब्लम को हम लोग पार्शियल फ्रैक्शन मेथड से भी बना सकते हैं, बट हियर L इनवर्स इज यूज हियर. सो L इनवर्स ऑफ 1 डिवाइडेड बाय s प्लस a s माइनस b. इसको कन्वोल्यूशन थ्योरम से बनाना है, इनवर्स लैप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म के कन्वोल्यूशन थ्योरम से. सो इनिशियली हम लोग क्या करेंगे, सबसे पहले fs सपोज कर लेंगे. fs इज 1 बाय s प्लस a एंड द सेकेंड फंक्शन इज gs इज 1 बाय s प्लस b. देन ft ड्राइव कर लेंगे. ft इज L इनवर्स ऑफ fs एज पर द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द इनवर्स लैप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म. L इनवर्स fs का वैल्यू 1 बाय s प्लस a. सो L इनवर्स ऑफ 1 बाय s प्लस a becomes e to the power minus 80. This is equation number 2. Similarly, gt equal to L inverse of gs and L inverse of 1 by s plus a. So this becomes the e to the power minus bt. This is equation number 3. Now using the convolution theorem, what is convolution theorem? L inverse of fs into gs equal to, इस orally याद होना चाहिए कि convolution theorem क्या होता है इनवर्स लैप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म का. As using this theorem, we can evaluate the any problems. So L inverse of fs into gs equal to integration over 0 to t fu g of t minus u du. So 0 to t as it is. What is fu? देखिए यहाँ पर ft का वैल्यू दिया हुआ था e to the power minus 80, तो fu का वैल्यू कितना हो जाएगा, e to the power minus au. t के प्लेस में u पुट कर दिए, so it becomes e to the power minus au. Now g of t minus u, because gt is given, gt is e to the power minus bt, so g of t minus u becomes e to the power minus b of t minus u. So here e to the power minus b of t minus u du. Now simplifying this part, e to the power minus bt outside, integration of a 0 to t, e to the power b minus a u du. Now integration of this part is e to the power b of t minus u divided by b minus a, and limit is 0 to t. On putting the limit, it becomes e to the power minus bt divided by b minus a of e to the power b minus a of t minus 1, because when we put the limit 0, it becomes 1. So multiplying this part, e to the power minus bt in box, so it becomes 1 by b minus a e to the power minus at minus of e to the power minus bt. So this is the answer. So this is all about the convolution theorem and related problems. So thank you.